My name is Patricio Martinez. I'm from the group 215. And first of all, I'm going to talk about the biology fields of study. As it says, a field of study is any specific area in which science might work, in this case with biology. But before that, I want to explain what biology is. Biology, in very few words, is the study of life. So, as in all sciences, it has its fields of study. For mention them, some of them are, for example, the ethology, that is the study of animal behavior, the entomology, that is the study of insects, the ichthyology, that is the study of fishes, or the mammalogy, that is the study of mammals. So, what do all these sciences have in common? That they are specific areas in which biology works. Now, I am going to talk about the branches of biology. As its name says, as a tree has too many branches, it's the same with the sciences. And for example, with biology, it is the anatomy, that is the study of bodily structure of humans, the anthropology, that is the study of human behavior, and some of the most important are the biomedicine, that are the biological principles applied in the medical research, the biochemistry, that are the chemical reactions that occur with living organisms, and also very important is the genetics, that is the heredity or characteristics transmitted from one generation to another. So what all of these sciences have in common is that they study a specific area, but they combine it with biology. So they might improve the science combining these two areas, biology and another one. And finally, I'm going to explain how life started in the Earth. We, as thinking beings, we have rights to think how life was created. Some of us think about a supreme being that God created the earth. Another ones think about the spontaneous generation, that life became from nothing. Another ones from the bottom of the oceans, that from the very deep of the oceans life began. And all that theories, all that thinkings are acceptable in certain sense. But the biological fact here is that life began from two molecules, DNA and RNA. These are two molecules present in all organisms, able to store, to copy, and to transmit information. So all that we believe is okay. But what the information says, what the scientific knowledge says, is that life began from two molecules, DNA and RNA.
My name is Cynthia and I'm going to talk about the characteristics of the living things and the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. There are 7 principal characteristics of the living things. The first one is nutrition. Living things take in material from their surroundings that they use for growth or to provide energy. Nutrition is the process by which organisms obtain energy and raw materials from nutrients such as proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. The second one is respiration. Respiration is the release of energy from food substances in all living cells. Living things break down food within their cells to release energy for carrying out the following processes. The third one is movement. All living things move. The movement may be so slow that it is very difficult to see, but it happens. The fourth one is excretion. All living things excrete. As a result of many chemical reactions occurring in cells, they have to get rid of waste products which might poison the cells. The fifth one is growth. Growth is seen in all living things. It involves using food to produce new cells. The permanent increase in cell number and size is called growth. The sixth one is reproduction. All living organisms have the ability to produce offspring. The seventh one is sensitivity. All living things are able to sense and respond to stimuli around them, such as light, temperature, water, gravity, and chemical substances. Now I'm going to tell you the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Microorganisms and all other living organisms are classified as prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes are different on the basis of their cellular characteristics. These differences are: prokaryotic cells are found in single-celled organisms. such as bacteria. On the other hand, the eukaryotic cells are found mainly in multicellular organisms. Eukaryotic cells have other organelles beside the nucleus that allow eukaryotic cells to carry out more functions than prokaryotic cells can. Meanwhile, the only organelles in prokaryotic cells are ribosomes. Prokaryotic cells do not contain a nucleus, and eukaryotic cells contain a nucleus. And eukaryotic cells are usually larger than prokaryotic cells.
The telescope was most likely invented by Zacharias Janssen in 1608. He was a Holland lens fabricator and was also involved in the invention of the microscope. The telescope is used to see more clearly things that are very far away, such as planets or stars. It has an eyepiece which, in a distance of about an inch or less, allows you to see the image formed by the objective's lens. The word telescope comes from the prefix tele, from the Greek for far, and the suffix scope, from the Greek for see, so it means far sea. The cells are the basic building blocks of all living things, and these are some of its parts. The endoplasmic reticulum processes molecules made by the cell and transports them to different locations. Cytoplasm is a sort of jelly which surrounds and protects the nucleus. The plasma membrane protects the inside of the cell from the outside, and the nucleus controls all the functions of the cell. The cytoskeleton is a net of fibers which allows the cell to divide, determines its shape, and other things. The theory was postulated by Theodor Schwann, Matthias Schleiden, and Rudolf Virchow. All living things must be made out of cells. If they are not, then they are not living things. Every cell comes from a pre-existing one. A cell cannot simply begin to exist out of nowhere. A cell must contain hereditary information, which may come in the form of RNA or DNA. And there's a fifth possible postulate that we could add, which says that every disease begins in the cell.
Organization. This levels come from the smallest thing to the biggest one. Now, from the smallest part we have subatomic particles, which they are really small, and they are neutrons, electrons, and protons. When you have these three guys together, you have an atom, which atoms are really small. Atoms are everywhere. You are made out of atoms, I'm made out of atoms, atoms are life. When you have lots of atoms in one place, you have a molecule. Molecules are chemical components such as hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, gold, iron, etc. Now that you have lots of molecules into one place, you have a cell, the smallest form of life on Earth. Cells can be either animal or plant cells. They have the difference. Now you have lots of cells into one place, you have tissue. Tissue are everywhere. Tissues are in our bones, in our skin, in our muscles, and even in our brains. Now that we have lots of tissues, we have organs. Organs keep us alive, they keep our body working, and we have so many examples such as the heart, lungs, pancreas, brains, everything. Now, when you have lots of organs into one place, you have an organ system, such as the respiratory system, urinary system, reproductory system, cardiac system, etc. Now you have lots of organ systems into one place, you have an organism. Something that can reproduce, have consciousness, interact with its environment, and etc. For example, tuna. Tuna is an example of organism. Now you have lots of organisms of the same species into one place, you can call it a population. My biggest example of a population is a fish bank full of tuna. If you have lots of tuna in one place, you can call it a tuna fish bank. Now when you have lots of populations of different species, you have a community. You can have a community of tuna, a community of sharks, a community of dolphins, a community of manta rays, a community of everything. Now you have lots of community to one place with lifeless things, such as rocks, plants, and everything. You have an ecosystem, such as the ocean, right? Where all of the fish and species I mentioned are living together. But now, when you have lots of ecosystems, such as the desert, forest, tundras, etc., you have a biosphere, which is basically planet Earth. A biosphere is something very important, and if we don't protect the biosphere, we may die very soon. So, that was it, guys. I hope it was easy to understand. See you later. Peace. There are transport. Under the cellular transport area, we have two categories. The first one is the one-by-one category, which has two types of transport. Active transport that uses energy against the gradient, and the passive transport that doesn't use energy because it's in favor of the gradient. Now, under the passive transport area, we have simple diffusion, which is the process where molecules cross a lipid bilayer. Then we have osmosis, which is the passage of water through a semi-permeable membrane. Then after this one, we have facilitated diffusion, which is when a molecule passes on with proteins. And finally, we have ultrafiltration and dialysis, which is when water and solutes pass through the hydrostatic pressure. Now, for massive transport, we have endocytosis, which the prefix endo says it, is when material is incorporated into the cell. And then we have exocytosis, which the prefix exo says it, it's when stuff goes out of the cell, when cells secrete things, alright? And then under these two things, we have another concept, which is phagocytosis, which is named as cell eating because it's literally cells eating the stuff that there's outside. For example, white blood cells eating bacteria for protecting our body.
Hi, my name is David and I'm going to talk about homeostasis. To start, homeostasis is the self-regulation process by which biological substances tend to maintain stability, while adjusting to conditions that are optimal for survival. It is if homeostasis is successful, life continues. If it is unsuccessful, disaster or death, it's clearly to see. Homeostasis is happening constantly in our bodies. We eat, sweat, drink, dance, eat some more, have salty fries, and yet our body composition remains almost the same. The control of body temperature in humans is a good example of homeostasis in a biological system. Well, now it's time to talk about the organ systems. The first one that we are going to talk about is the circulatory system. This system is made up of heart, blood, and blood vessels and veins. It is the body delivery system, concerned with circulating blood to deliver oxygen and nutrients to every part of our body. The second one that we are going to talk about is the digestive system. The purpose of the digestive system is to turn the food you eat into something useful to our body. When you eat, your body uses this system to digest food, so your cells can use it to make energy. The organs involved in the system include the mouth, the stomach, the intestines, the tongue, the teeth, and also the anus. The third one that we are going to talk about is the muscular system. This system is made of muscles, tissue that help move the body and move materials through the body. Quite simple, muscles move you. Muscles are bundles of cells and fibers that work in a simple way. They tighten up and relax. Well, the fourth one that we are going to talk about is the nervous system. The nervous system is the control center of the human body. It is made of brain, spinal cord, and nerves. It receives and interprets stimuli and transmits impulse to organs. Your brain uses the information it receives to coordinate all of your actions and reactions. Organ system that we're going to talk about is the respiratory system. The primary function of the respiratory system is to supply the blood with oxygen, in order for the blood to deliver oxygen to other parts of our body. The respiratory system does this through breathing. It consists of the nose, larynx, trachea, diaphragm, bronchi, and lung.
Hi, my name is Karina and I'm going to be talking about health and disease, health in adolescence, and healthy lifestyle. Okay, so now I'm going to be explaining my first topic, that is health and disease. Everything in our body is finely regulated by mechanisms that allow us to have homeostasis. Therefore, we are healthy. So when we are sick, we lose this balance and this homeostasis. Greek philosophers profess the culture of being healthy in both ways, in the body and in our mind. So they use the phrase healthy mind in a healthy body. They also used to think that when we are healthy, we are in a natural disposition, and when we are unhealthy, we are in an unnatural condition. On the other side, Catholic people used to give some magical explanations to health. They used to think if you are a good person and you are loyal to God, He's going to give you health. But if you are unloyal to Him and you are a bad person, He's going to punish you with a disease. But over time, people realized that it was a lie and everything has a scientific explanation, not a magical one, and they realized if you are sick, it's because you have a unhealthy lifestyle. Now to finish with this topic, I'm going to give you some definitions from an actual dictionary so you can see the difference from now and then. It says that health is a condition in which someone or something is doing well. And it says that disease is a condition of a living thing that has impaired functioning and it is typically manifested by some symptoms. Let's move on to the next topic, that is health in adolescence. Adolescence is better known as a stage that is the transition between childhood and adulthood, and it implies a lot of physical and psychosocial changes, and it is between the ages of 11 and 19 years. It is essential to recognize the health need for the adolescents. For this, we need to cover the well-being of three areas: physical, mental, and social. So if you want to be a healthy adolescent, you need to be fine in these three areas. And if you want to be fine, you need to cover them with the necessary activities for each one of them. Now I'm going to be explaining the last topic, that is healthy lifestyles. Scientists have affirmed that the most significant factors to be healthy is the lifestyle you have. Lifestyles are related to social and cultural behaviors, including social classes and natural groups. There are 7 actions that can lead us to a healthy life. 1. Sleep between 7 and 8 hours a day. 2. Have breakfast every day. 3. Perform 3 meals a day. 4. Maintain your body weight between the acceptable limits. 5. Perform a sport regularly. 6. Do not consume alcohol. And number 7. Do not smoke.